watching Environmental Education. I'm your host, Christina Moffitt. Today I'm here with my two co-hosts.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Sean.
How are you guys doing?
Tired.
It's been a long day, long week.
It has been.
First week back from spring break, so we're getting back into it, you know.
Yeah. How was your spring breaks? Did you guys
Quick.
do anything?
Very quick. Last spring break ever, so it was a little sentimental. I'm never going to have another spring break again, so I tried to make the most of it. A lot of great sports action for me personally. That was what I was doing over break. Always good to see the family as well.
What kind of sports?
College basketball. March
Okay.
Madness just started up. Bracket's not looking too good, but it's not about that. It's just about the games.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, spring break's always a nice time to kind of unwind. Now it's kind of the tough part of the semester. You know, this is when you start getting everything thrown at you at once over these last 5 weeks. But yeah, my spring break was good.
Good. Nice to have a relaxing spring break.
Yeah, a little longer would have been nice, but that 1 week was a nice relaxing period for me.
That's good. How about you?
I did nothing. Well, I shouldn't say nothing. I did a lot. I did not much. I'll leave it that way. I worked a couple days up here. For the most part, I got to eat some good food, watch some college basketball, like Ryan said. That's the best part about break. Because I'm doing 1,000 things at once here. I get to take a break for a week, and now we're back into it. And it's already been crazy, as I said before, so.
Yeah, I understand that completely. Spring break is always just comes at the perfect time where like you're so stressed out. It's just so necessary at that moment that you're just so ready for it. I luckily got to go down to Clearwater Beach, Florida for a week, so that was really nice. Usually I never do anything for spring break, so it was nice to finally go somewhere and do something. But that relaxation was definitely necessary. So to piggyback off of last week's eco-friendly tip of the week, saving water, we would like to share an online water consumption calculator quiz that I took. The website for this quiz is watercalculator.org.
The website states that the quiz will help calculate your estimated total water use. That is, if you know all the answers.
So I took this quiz, and like you mentioned, I didn't really know all the answers. So I kind of just guessed. I based it off of my household. So I just wanted to share that with you guys and, you know, see what you think. So let's have a look at that. So I have 4 people in my household, me, my parents, my brother. Said the average shower
It's about
time.
the normal household, too.
I don't know if we have low flow shower heads. And I maybe take a bath every month. Or a year.
Is it bad I couldn't tell you last time I've taken a bath?
I couldn't tell you either.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that wasn't just me.
No, it's fine. I mean, I like it. Lush has these like really nice bath bombs, which I like doing, like using. And I don't know about the low flow faucets. Dishwasher, my mom loads that. So I don't really know about
Not
that
your
either.
chore, right?
No. And we use like a regular washing machine.
That water level's not really rising too quick yet, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, it rises pretty quickly, though, after some of the answers. We water the lawn. My dad handles most of that.
I said, I think that'd be more, honestly.
Yeah, and it does depend on, you know, the size of
Yeah,
your
yeah.
lawn and, you know, your gardening, things like that. So it's crazy how it, all your answers affect. You know, you'll just see it rise progressively. And like I said, I didn't know most of these answers. I kind of just guessed. Like I have a pool. We usually keep it covered half the year.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that really affects. We each have a car.
Now, without ruining the ending, were you above average or were you below average in terms of how much water you use?
You know, I'm not sure if I was above or below average, but it was a lot of water. And like I said, you'll just kind of see it go up, especially at one of the answers. It's pretty surprising. Now this one was a good amount too, how many miles you drive.
I mean, you choose your state, too.
Yeah, I'm not sure what, maybe that.
Gas price?
Yeah,
Oh, wait,
maybe
I don't know.
gas.
I
I
have
don't
no
know.
idea, actually, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
It still hasn't moved that much, though.
No, and then I put about our electricity, we have solar panels. So I kind of based that off of 70%. And now look at that. That went up a good
Which
amount.
one was that?
I'm actually not sure. Let's go back and see. So this was back at our electricity. It answers the electric utility or at home. So I just put 70 to 30. How much do you shop? I think this was it. Yeah.
Wow.
That went
Yeah.
up like half the screen.
And I don't think we shop that
Wow.
much. Yeah. And we recycle everything at my house. And donate, so that was probably good. This one's very surprising, the diet. I'm gonna pause this here.
So I have a general idea.
I am the only one in my household who does not eat meat. So the other 3 in my household do eat meat. And this is so surprising for me. You just see it shoot up. Like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
You think about all the water it takes to keep that livestock alive.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's
Crazy amount of water.
It's absolutely insane. So seeing that 3 people in my household, that just shoots up the water consumption right there. And they eat meat about every meal, which I think is quite typical for someone who does eat meat. I don't know about you guys.
It's probably at least once a day for me.
Yeah.
At least.
It's not as much for me. The only meat I eat is chicken, and that's
Okay.
maybe 2-3 times a week. But as you said, it's crazy just seeing how even one meat eater in the house can just make the results skyrocket like as high as they did.
Yeah.
Have you tried to convince your family like to cut back a little bit? Like, have you showed them like all the water they're wasting just by eating meat alone?
You know, it's hard to get through to them. They still make fun of me. I haven't eaten meat in about 6 years, and I still get teased for it. Every family is like, "Oh, do you want some chicken?" It's like, all right, it was funny at first, but you know, it's kind of old now. It's been 6 years, but it's not easy to convince them. I don't even bother at this point because there's no way at this point that they're gonna transition. My cousin, on the other hand, he actually watched a video in one of his classes, and he was like, I couldn't eat meat for like a week after watching, you know,
Yeah.
what happened.
Gross.
Yeah, so I think I could probably persuade, but the rest of my family, I don't think so.
They're going to teach you your whole life.
Yeah,
'Cause I know
probably.
for me, being gluten-free,
Oh,
I get
yeah.
that all the time. Not like it's my choice either, but
Yeah.
the torment that comes with it, that does not go away over time, I'll tell you that right now.
And now, are you the only one in your family that's gluten-free, or in your
Yes.
household?
I am. Like I said,
Okay.
it's by force, which
Yeah.
makes also the vegetarian diet twice as hard for me because meat is usually
Yeah.
my safe bet of what is gluten-free.
Yeah.
But maybe when I'm out of college, something I could try. But in college, it would be impossible for me.
Yeah, I actually, someone in my family has celiac, so I was kind of having a problem with different foods, and I wasn't sure if it was celiacs.
They always think it's that at first.
I
Always.
was nervous, and I was talking to my doctor, and she was like, I don't know about that vegetarian diet if you have celiacs, but ended up being I'm lactose intolerant, so kind of leaning more towards a vegan diet, but I splurge sometimes, so I was gonna consider myself a vegetarian. And then also this one was how much money do you spend on animals? We don't have any in my house, unfortunately. And these are kind of just interest things. What do you want to learn about? What you're interested in. And so this says my water footprint is 2,501 gallons per day.
Wow.
My household is
Wow.
10,013 gallons per day.
Jeez. That's crazy.
It says that.
2,500 gallons for one person.
Yeah, the average is 2,220. So
You're actually above. Wow.
Wow.
over. Yeah.
I'm going to have to take this quiz. I'm going to be.
So I did take
Yeah.
it. So for comparison, I was at 1,500, which I was actually kind of surprised about.
Wow, that's good.
It might help that I live in a house with 3 other guys, so our showers normally aren't that long. We don't keep like the sinks running a lot. We don't have to water our lawn. We don't have a garden. So I think that definitely helps. The biggest thing, which seemed to be the thing with you, we all eat meat. So I think that was the biggest thing that kind of caused our numbers to kind of go up and up. But that's, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. You don't really think 2,500 gallons a day. That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you can take this quiz at watercalculator.org. I thought it was absolutely insane to see these, like just watching the water rise, especially when I selected meat eaters for my family.
Yeah.
Insane. And like I said, I did guess on a lot of it. I don't know the answers because I don't pay the bills and I don't know what my house has. So maybe there's like a little leeway in that itself. And it also shows you a lot more results too, depending on your answer. So I thought that was really interesting.
Not to get too extreme, I think it kind of puts things in perspective a little bit. You hear about all these developing countries and even some places in the United States who struggle to have clean waters. And then you see that we use upwards of 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 gallons in one day. It kind of really puts things in perspective about how lucky we are to have access to all that.
Yeah, we kind of just really take advantage of it, you know. It is unfortunate, you know, and it's something that we need to reconsider, definitely. I'm going to go home and talk to my family about this. And I'll maybe have them take it, and maybe they'll have a better guess on all of these answers. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, but stay tuned for some more environmental education. Welcome back. We're going to examine some events occurring around the world as a result of climate change.
According to global climate change on NASA's website, some events occurring due to climate change are decreased snow cover, the National Snow and Ice Data Center, and Earth Observatory. Snow cover shows that snow has decreased and or melts faster in the Northern Hemisphere over the past 5 decades. And basically what this means is that these temperatures in the Arctic, they're not just getting not cold enough, it's more them getting too warm during their warm periods. And these temperatures aren't necessarily what we would consider warm temperatures, but for the Arctic over the past 50 years, they are warm, and that's why this ice is melting.
So building off of what Sean said, the Arctic sea size and thickness has lowered dramatically over the last several decades. We see this in NASA's Operation Icebridge mission that connects polar regions with the global climate system.
Extreme weather events in the United States and around the world have been increasingly more common. The United States is experiencing more record high temperatures and less record low temperatures. These high temperatures are expected to continually rise. It's crazy because we're experiencing such warm weather during winter. Well, we were. I guess it's spring now. But and you know, it's kind of hard to complain because I love warm weather, but it's not normal, you know?
Yeah, it's not. It should be a concern.
Yeah, it should be, you know. Like I said, I wasn't here over spring break, but I've heard from a few people that most of the days it was pretty nice out. You know, my friend said like she was driving with windows down and everything, and it's crazy because you know, it's not supposed to be that warm already. But like I said, kind of hard to complain about.
Well, another problem we're seeing is the acidity in the ocean surface water has risen about 30% since the start of the Industrial Revolution. This is due to humans releasing more carbon dioxide and it being absorbed into the oceans. Carbon dioxide absorbed is increasing by approximately 2 billion tons per year to the upper layer of the oceans. And the other problem that goes along with this is because our oceans act as a big tank basically to take all of our carbon emissions, is that this ocean getting more acidic on that pH scale, moving at or 0.2 over the last 2 years on the pH scale, which doesn't seem like a lot, but is on that pH scale, it is a lot. And what's happening is that these shellfish, they're not be able to form their shells because that ocean is so acidic. And those shellfish are at the bottom of the food chain for a lot of marine life, and it's going to cause a problem all the way up to the food chain to us.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Throwing some stats in there, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, your class is helping you out a lot.
I actually pay attention to this class. What can I say?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, you enjoy it. So, you know, it's good that you can, you know, use this in another aspect.
To get even more scientific with it, what's happening is that the way the sun's hitting that carbon, it's splitting the carbon atoms. And that's what's causing it to become more acidic, just because of the total number of carbon, I believe, isotopes. Don't quote me on that. And like I said, it goes back to the zooplankton and the shellfish. And people don't realize that effects like that on the bottom of the food chain affect everyone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Who's your professor?
Professor Kava, she's new.
Doing a really good job, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So building off of everything that's been said already, glaciers are retreating in the Alps, Himalayas, Andes, Rockies, Alaska, and Africa.
We are going to see changes in rain patterns, have more droughts and heat waves.
Hurricanes will become stronger and more intense, and eventually the Arctic is expected to be ice-free by mid-century. And do you want to hear something else crazy that I heard the other day that Professor Kava taught me? She moved here from California, and her reason was being that scientists think by 2050, California's permanently going to be on fire. Like with the wildfires and stuff, that it's just going to be on fire year-round. And she goes, I don't want to raise my kid there if it's going to be on fire year-round. So that's why she came here and started teaching here. And I thought that was crazy.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know what I heard was because of like the tectonic plates or something.
Well, there's that too.
It would be
totally
separate.
Yeah.
So that's really the only thing that I knew about
Yeah,
it.
she loved California, but she goes, I can't, like, my safety is going to be a question there soon. I'm like, that's real. That's like the first thing she told us. Yeah, 2050.
That's absolutely crazy. Wow.
Just going to have wildfires going year-round.
That's crazy to move from California to here, you know? Because I would want to live in California because there's warm weather all the time. But
I guess when you have your priorities.
yeah.
Her safety wasn't one of hers.
Wow. And, you know, there are so many wildfires, so it is really scary.
And they spread uncontrollably.
Yeah. Well, going off that, we're going to have a look at some regional effects expected to occur in the U.S.
Heat waves, heavy downpours, and sea level rise are posing growing challenges to many aspects of life right here in the Northeast. So West Long Branch, New Jersey, where Monmouth University is located, that's one of the areas that could be extremely affected. Infrastructure, agriculture, fisheries, and ecosystems are going to be increasingly compromised, so much so that many states and cities are beginning to incorporate climate change into their planning.
And in the Northwest, some environmental changes will occur with the timing of stream flow, which will reduce water supply. Sea levels will rise, erosion can occur, risks to infrastructure increase, and ocean acidity increasing also poses major threats. There may be an increase in wildfires, insect outbreaks, and tree diseases, which can cause widespread die-off.
In the Southeast, sea level rise poses widespread and continuing threats to the region's economy and environment. Extreme heat will affect health, energy, agriculture, and more. Decreased water availability will have economic and environmental impacts.
Then moving along, the Midwest is expected to experience extreme heat, heavy downpours, and flooding. These will affect aspects of life such as infrastructure, health, agriculture, forestry, transportation, air and water quality, and more. Climate change will also compound a range of risks to the Great Lakes.
Lastly, the Southwest will experience heat, drought, and insect outbreaks, and an increase in wildfires. Water supply will decline, cities will face heat-related health impacts and flooding, and erosion in coastal areas are additional concerns.
Some things we mentioned last week are also results of climate change, global temperature rise, warming oceans, sea level rise, and shrinking ice glaciers.
It's important to understand what changes can occur due to climate change and some things that we can do personally to prevent them. And this information isn't to scare anyone, it's just to make us, more aware about, these effects and what we can do.
It kind of blows my mind just going through all this, all the things that we're taught, that some people still say it's not a thing, like it's not real. Like all the statistics are out there. They're not fake. Like this is rapidly changing to the point where, Sean, as you said, your professor is worried about living in a state because it might be, there's wildfires all the time. Some people are worried about living close to the coast because it might be underwater sooner rather than later. So I think we've reached a point in this country where we need to kind of accept that this is real, and we need to try to figure out alternatives to the way we live now in order to make this more sustainable for the long term.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more.
And in more current news, with Trump assembling his climate panel, the problem with that being the panel's made up mostly by climate deniers, but even more recent than that is that, so we live in a heliocentric period right now, which has gone on for eons. And because of our carbon emissions and how much carbon we're pumping out into the atmosphere, there's now an argument and a proposal being presented soon that we're going to be in the anthrocentric era. We're going to change a whole era just because of how much carbon we're releasing. And the hope is, at least my professor was telling me, yesterday she was telling me this, how she thinks that might finally get people aware if we actually move into a new era because of our carbon emissions.
Yeah, and that's sad. It's sad that, that's what has to, make us realize.
Yeah, the numbers have been around, but maybe this will give people the push they need,
Yeah. Well, stay tuned for our eco-friendly tip of the week after a short break. Welcome back. Before break, we mentioned some events occurring or that can occur from climate change. So naturally, our eco-friendly tip of the week is fighting climate change.
Tip number 1, switch to renewable energy. Solar panels are a great way to accomplish this, plus it can save you money in the long run.
And the other renewable energy source that's coming up more recently is nuclear energy, something that we shied away from after the meltdowns in Japan, but is now being reconsidered, and there are 2 new plants in the United States being built for nuclear energy. It's a more renewable source rather than the coal power plants. The only problem with that is the nuclear rods left over that you have to put cement over. So technically it's not renewable completely, but it is more renewable than the coal power plants.
And even if it's not fully, it's better than,
People
progress.
are just worried about the safety because, if you put this nuclear power plant close to homes, we've seen what nuclear power plants, if not attended to properly, the damage they can do and the damage they're still doing in Japan. So that's the big question mark with them. So we'll see if they actually become more popular in the United States, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and like wind turbines and stuff, those are really cool. I think they're so cool. In Atlantic City, I always see them.
Wind turbines.
Yeah.
And solar farms.
Yeah.
All farms dedicated to solar. And the great thing about that is that you can still grow your plants with the solar farms. So you're only using some of your farm space for those solar panels, but you can still grow your crops too.
Yeah, it does take up a lot of space, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Why not? Pays off. So another tip is to watch what you're eating. Try eating meat-free meals or lessening your intake of meat, like we were talking about before. Try buying organic and local foods. Support your local farmers. Don't let food go to waste. Reuse everything and eat your leftovers. And try growing your own food. My dad has a garden and he grows different kinds of vegetables, which always taste better. Like his tomatoes, I can't get any tomatoes that taste like his. It's so weird, but they're just so good.
I'll say this, working in a produce department for 2 years, it was really eye-opening how much food we threw out every single day. It would be enough to feed an insane amount of people, right? But it would always just go in the dumpster every single day because, maybe a date was it was coming up quick and we weren't going to sell it or something like that. So definitely try your best not to waste food. That was one of the gripes I had working in a produce department for 2 years, just seeing all the food go to waste. As Christina said, support local farmers. They could really use it, especially now. It's just consider all the alternatives that you have. It's a time when change needed to happen a long time ago, so definitely try to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
I believe one of the statistics that came up with the food waste is that if we took our food waste just in the United States for 1 year, it could fill up all of Los Angeles.
Oh, I believe it.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I believe that was the statistic. I could be a little wrong on that, but that's what I remember it being, which was crazy. But at the same time, that's almost believable.
Mm-hmm.
And how to-go bags aren't things in other countries. You go to Europe and you're like, oh, can I get a bag? And they're like, what? That's just not, it's not a normal thing over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I mentioned before, when I was in Australia, I had to pay for to-go containers, which was weird because here, you just get one. They usually ask, and I had to ask for one. They were like, okay, it's 50 cents. And I was like, all right, it's 50 cents. I'll just get it. But, it's all about, not wasting food. And also the thing there was that plastic. Mm-hmm. So that was their problem. So something you can do to avoid that is, bring your own containers. So you avoid wasting food and, you're not using more plastic, which is then going to be more plastic produced.
Another way is if you switch your transportation means, carpool with friends, take public transportation, walk or ride a bike if it's nice out. Consider investing in an electric or hybrid car. And if flying offset your emissions, and if flying offset your emissions, sorry, rushed that one a little bit.
That's all right. And I always tried carpooling when I was going to high school. I would catch a ride with my cousin or friends, things like that. Or I'd walk to school.
I really like the idea of like in LA, they had a carpool lane, carpool parking for people only carpooling. I think that's good because then like it gives people a reason to carpool, especially like in cities like LA where you just want to beat the traffic. You can fly down that carpool lane.
That's awesome.
I wish they had that here, but
Yeah.
they had that in another lane, and we all know how long construction takes here in the Northeast.
Yeah, and the thing that's really cool too is electric cars are becoming more popular now. Like Tesla is a bit pricey, but
Yeah.
they're actually coming out, the Model 3. I know they're trying to make it a more affordable price. So, and it's not the point of, if you have something, just, get rid of it. We want to avoid waste, but, when you're ready to make a new purchase for something, just consider your options and what is environmentally friendly and try to make that change.
It's crazy just how popular, as you mentioned, electric cars are becoming. Like, even here at Monmouth, there's several electric car spots, so you can like refill your car, which is really good. And I forget what car manufacturer it was, but they said by I think 2030 they want half of their entire inventory at least to be all electric, and I think that would be perfect.
Yeah,
It's
amazing.
such an easy way, as you said. Maybe it might be a little more costly now, but hopefully down the road it becomes much more affordable and it's an easy way to offset the emissions.
Yeah, definitely.
Not to be a Debbie Downer, but there is still problems when it comes to the electric cars. The problem being people think electricity is such a renewable energy source, but you still have to mine those lithium batteries out, and that costs manpower and still releases carbon sinks and releases more carbon into it. Don't get me wrong, electric cars are a better solution, but they're not the solution, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a little earlier. We touched on this. Go out and vote. Many politicians have voiced their opinions on climate change, so you need to vote for someone you believe can make a positive difference.
Like I mentioned earlier, try to limit your waste. Focus on purchasing items that can be reused. This includes food containers, clothes, and more. Find creative ways to upcycle products so that your items can get more than one use. Something I try to do, I have a tie-dye business with my best friend. So what we got into doing was going into different thrift stores and buying like white shirts that have designs and just tie-dyeing over them, and it just, you're getting more than one use and making sure that when you're done using clothes, you're not just throwing them out, you're giving them to someone, you're donating them, taking them to a store to resell. It's just really important to not waste anything you're using.
And hey, thrift stores are fun. That's where I
Yeah.
gotta have my bow ties. I love thrift stores.
You can find some really cool stuff there.
That's what I'm saying.
And so cheap,
Yeah, it's a win-win.
I know that
Well,
good.
and I guess now I can say win-win-win. Anyone got a fourth one?
The Goodwill by Me, Sundays, select items, they have colored tags, but whatever those two colored tags are, it's $1. They have full entertainment centers. That's 4 wins.
4 wins.
That's 4 wins.
Any more, I think it's too much wins.
True.
Another way you can do it is purchase energy-efficient appliances. Many washers, dryers, fridges have energy-efficient options with an Energy Star sticker. Another thing to keep in mind is LED lights. By 2050, their Project Drawdown is projecting that 90% of all of our lights will be LED lights. LED lights have been around for over 50 years, but just like solar panels, they've become very slowly accepted into our society because of that upfront cost. They are two times more expensive than fluorescent and any other kind of light, but these LED lights can last up to 50,000 hours in 27 years. That's the estimates on them. So in the long run, they are more efficient, and there's a bunch of reasons LED lights are better, but we don't have 30 minutes for me to talk about that right now.
So,
Maybe in the
time.
future.
Next time.
Yeah.
And finally, unplug things that aren't in use. It isn't good to leave devices plugged in after they're fully charged, and you'll save electricity.
We hope that discussing these events will help you become more aware and that our tips will help you consider your impact on the world. And hopefully you can change some of your choices into a positive, earth-friendly one. Thanks for watching Environmental Education. I'm your host, Christina Moffitt.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.